And I believe that Hilaria, love her like we do, like we love everyone, is sadistic. And she's married someone who's sadistic with masochistic qualities, which a lot of successful men have, where they want to be the sub and they want the woman to be the dom. So in this sort of dominatrix way, sort of the dungeon way, that she pointed finger guns at Alec at his manslaughter trial to tell him to turn around. And nonverbal is 90% of communication, and the nonverbals there were very clearly that she and Alec have this dynamic, which I would consider a kink, and we're not kink shaming here, but we're just like, maybe you saw something different there. But what I was seeing was a sort of S&M, and to be clear, she would be the person who would punish him, dominate him, make him feel shame, and that he would be, in sort of a masochistic way, craving that shame because he knows he's a piece of shit. Go ahead, your thoughts as a dude. In the toxic patriarchy. No pressure.
No, I think you're right.
Because? I'm sorry, that was a leading. Was that leading?
It was leading. Leading. Objection. No.
We have no objection to anyone with a kink, by the way, who is in some sort of S&M relationship. We have no problem with a dominatrix. There's no shame in your game if you are a sex worker, which she is. Can we be clear?
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So we're assuming that this woman is a sex worker, and I don't think that there would be a legitimate argument against that. So that's our assumption.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have started with that.
Yeah, maybe so. That's okay.
And how did they meet, Scotty? What is your theory?
Well, see, I don't have a good theory on that. Because I kind of, I know the rumors about how they met. That she may have been compensated in some way for the date.
She's on all fours on the bed in her MySpace page. Go ahead. Which is a great position. We are not shaming doggy style.
No, certainly
it's
not.
great.
Certainly not.
We loved it.
It's a perfectly fine
and
position.
And she looked great in it.
So, you know.
Her makeup was on point in the trial, by the way. I would have cut the nails. Not because I'm nail shaming, but because she has this weird petting thing she does where she pet the, I don't know if you saw this, but the attorney, she hit the back of his neck in a sort of a sexualized way. And again, I just feel like this is part of her husband being a cuck, and he loves it.
Yeah.
And I think she was devastated, even though there were no tears coming out of either one of their eyes. Well, you remember when he was shaking, crying? There was there were no tears.
Yeah.
And so neither one of them, I was not convinced by their crying. But ultimately, her grand gestures are so phony that pretty much anybody can see that she's trying to turn this into some telenovela. But I do believe she was devastated that he would be coming home with her, that he would not be in jail for the next 18 months. I think she's really sad he didn't get his comeuppance. But absolutely, when she walked into the courtroom with her hands in her pockets and that smile on her face, disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I just thinking about the what you were saying about Alec Baldwin, that actually, it makes a lot of sense because he has that kind of, he's very much seems like that alpha male kind of, he's the guy in charge, and everything he's in the movies, he is that guy, or, in 30 Rock or whatever. He's that guy. He's the boss. He's the big man, So it kind of makes sense that, like, in the bedroom, he'd be, like, completely submissive.
Would you? Yeah, I love it. Would you watch him in a movie? Are you going to watch Rust, for example?
Ooh, I don't. I'm just out of sheer curiosity. I mean,
and it hasn't been released.
Yeah.
With the widower being a producer, which is, I think, sick and gross.
Yeah.
Gloria Allred is representing her family. Miss Hutchins' family.
Right.
And she called Alec sick for filming a reality show. Yeah. And she's absolutely right. Love her for it. And I think she's going to do a great job.
So we haven't talked about the reality show.
Well, can we not?
You don't want to talk about the reality show?
What would you like to say about it? It's really sick and gross. I mean, Gloria said it all, right?
How much content do you think they got from this trial for the show?
Oh, a ton. And I believe it was it 300 or 350,000 an episode?
Yeah, something like that.
So they're making great money.
No, for sure.
Great wins, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think that the them crying, it's just going to be, you feel like they knew that was going to be, okay, this is going to be a big moment in the show. So we really got to...
Yeah, and Gloria said something to the effect of, really, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because announcing this before the trial, I believe that Alec went rogue, or Hilaria went rogue with that, and went against all common sense and all counsel.
Yeah, no, we had talked about that when it was first announced that we're going to be doing a reality show. What were they thinking? Like, what is the...
Meow, 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 meow. And we have to understand that Hilaria's parents are both smart people, accomplished people, selfish people, self-centered people. She grew out of her parents coming from the me generation and consumed with their own careers. And here they had this lovely child who was not academically gifted in the way that they wanted their daughter to be. And then they have a son who becomes a DJ, which is a wonderful profession. We're not knocking that.
That's right.
But also another child who is not following in their academic footsteps. She could feel, probably, in all likelihood, that she was a disappointment to her parents. And she likely struggled in school. Does that mean she's not manipulative? No. Does that mean she couldn't be an extraordinary dancer? She was a fabulous dancer. Does it mean she's not worthy of love? No, we love her. We want the best for her because we want the best for her children. And we want to see her do better. For their sake. And for hers. We don't give any fucks about Alec. He's a terrible human being. He can rot in hell.
Sure. Yeah.
But for her, we see potential redemption. And here in Alabama, that's what we do best, right?
We're all about redemption.
We're all about redemption.
That's right.
And that's what we want to see. And that's why we're doing this. We should have led with that.
Well, a lot of things we should have led with, as it turns out.
What would you like to see her turn this around moving forward as far as this show?
Well, I would say that I don't have a lot of confidence that she's going to turn anything around.
No, but our hopes and dreams.
Our hopes and dreams. Okay, hopes and dreams. Well, I mean, the best thing to do would be not to do the show at all because...
Thank you. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about her, sort of using the kids as this sort of a way of marketing herself in a way. It's kind of exploiting them for
and
her
we're
own
blaming
gain,
her,
right?
but again,
Alec is right
makes
there
the
with
money.
with the show. I mean,
he was 25 years older, right?
Sure.
When they married. She was, I think, mentally very young and naive.
Mm-hmm.
But she also was likely a sex worker at the time.
Right.
I'm sorry, now she is. So she would quit. I think she would quit, right? She would quit the sex work business on behalf of Carmen, for example, where she could say, okay, you know what? No hate, sex work is work. It's not for my daughter because I want her to pursue her passions.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a piece of meat for the male gaze.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say the male gaze, I'm talking about every human being on the planet, because even as women, if we're socialized as women, we also have the male gaze. We're swimming in it. Okay, so we have to unpack that internalized misogyny, but not right now. Let's kind of embrace that right now as far as Hilaria goes, because we can really sort of get into the mind of Hilaria, which is, of course, our topic. Alec is tangential. We're talking about the trial because she's married to him, but she's the focus of our fascination and a case study. Now, we may be revealing our problems with women by talking about her, and that, I think, is useful too, because the young generation, like my daughter, they're smarter than every generation that came before them, and they will have a lot to say about probably the misogyny that we're perpetrating, perhaps, in this. What are your thoughts on that, Scotty? That we may be doing more harm than good discussing our fascination with this case study in what you might call the dark triad of personality disorders, which we don't believe in.